Good evening. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. Our major stories tonight: voter apathy is gripping Cameroon as legislative and municipal elections loom. Many citizens aren't registering, citing disinterest in the electoral process. However, some party militants are currently drumming enthusiasm and equally encouraging people to register. Away from that, former Member of Parliament Jean-Jacques Ekinte is calling on President Paul Biya to form a government that tackles Cameroon's socio-economic and security woes. He warns that the country will stay in a mess if nothing is done. Jean-Jacques Ekinte equally stresses that the Anglophone crisis needs urgent attention. He was speaking today during a press conference in the city of Douala. Those are top stories tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 6 p.m. edition of the primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. Thank you so much for staying with us. For presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. On the heels of the controversial organization of the October 12, 2025 presidential elections in Cameroon, Cameroon Elecam officials are fighting to stay safe in the eyes of Cameroon. The institution's officials have promised a clear, credible, and also transparent voters registration this year, 2026. This determination was revealed by the Director General of the institution in Yaoundé during the launch of voters registration, as Fomi Armstrong Sanda tells us.
Amid multiple criticisms, the Director General of Elections Cameroon, Eric Essoussi, says they are ameliorating. Speaking at the launch of voter enrollment for the year 2026, the Director General says they are determined to have a pure, credible, transparent and acceptable voter registrar. But among Cameroonian voters, momentum is not the same, especially out of the presidential election that ended with more questions than answers.
Il est bien vrai que nous on a été déçus par ce qui s'est passé. Le rejet sans explication de la candidature de notre.
Joseph Fossing is a CRM party supporter and sympathizer and a former political prisoner. He says they are traumatized by the unjustified rejection of the presidential candidacy file of Professor Maurice Kamto in 2026, though not ready to give up on the electoral process in Cameroon. Like him, many Cameroonians are caught up between confusion and frustration. Others, like Lucien Guessong, rather think that Cameroonians should hurriedly get themselves registered in order to avoid last-minute rush, like was the case in 2025 with the presidential election. Election officials hope that their early launch of voter registration will boost its credibility and better its image in the eyes of Cameroonian voters.
In the same vein, with legislative and municipal elections just weeks away, many Cameroonians are yet to register their names on the electoral register, citing lack of interest in the process. In response, some militants of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party are hitting the streets to drum up enthusiasm and encourage registration. Siri Chakutio has more on this.
Elecam est très proche de vous. Vous avez le droit désormais de vous exprimer à travers les urnes. N'abandonnez pas.
In front of Elections Cameroon headquarters in the Bonaberi, Douala 4 subdivision, the scene is almost dry. With the municipal and legislative elections approaching, Cameroonian enthusiasm seems to be gone. Those met on the field explain that this lack of interest is due to a loss of confidence in the electoral process. In terms of elections, nothing can truly change anymore. For me, things are set in stone. We already know who will win and who will lose, so it's no longer worth it. Since I started voting, I see that it leads to nothing, so it's not worth it. They are all children of the same womb. To reverse this trend, political actors and militants of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement CRM party are conducting an awareness campaign in the Bonasama neighborhood. The objective: is to encourage Cameroonians to register, collect their voters' cards, and go to the polls for the upcoming municipal and legislative elections.
Mobiliser les jeunes comme ceux qu'on voit derrière nous là.
Mobilize young people to go out with our megaphones to raise awareness among the population in the lowlands, because many don't know that they can register at the Elecam office. They wait for Elecam agents to come to their neighborhood, which is what used to be before. So, our role is to remind them that they have the right to register and vote for the legislative and municipal elections.
Ce n'est qu'à partir de cette carte d'électeur qu'on peut exprimer ses choix politiques.
To Augustin Kweko, a representative of the party,
beaucoup de jeunes se sont rétractés, beaucoup de parents même, beaucoup d'adultes sont complètement presque découragés.
These mobilization campaigns will succeed in restoring voting confidence.
Et notre devoir en tant que parti politique, c'est de leur dire qu'ils vont finir par choisir les personnes qui sont ceux qu'ils portent vraiment dans leur cœur.
In Bonaberi, unlike other quarters in the city of Douala, voter turnout remains very low.
And in other news, the absence of Senate President Marcel Nyat Jifenji and Speaker of the National Assembly Kavaige Jibril at the New Year Wishes ceremony of President Paul Biya at the Unity Palace has been qualified as a manifested downside of Gerontocracy. Young Cameroonians say this system, which is a perfect description of Biya's regime, has brought generational disconnection, outdated perspectives, resistance to change, and succession challenges to the Cameroonian nation. From Yamstrong Sanda is a man on that story.
Far from being a minor coincidence, the absence of Marcel Nyat Njifenji and Kavaige Jibril at the New Year Wishes ceremony to President Paul Biya at the Unity Palace denotes the downside of gerontocracy drowning the Cameroonian vessel. This is the view of Cameroonians like Dagge George and Song Derrick.
A leader who is hardly in his office, a leader who is always on a sick bed, how performant can that leader be? These are two individuals, and one is 90 years and the other is 85 years old. When we talk of performance and productivity, you see that their continuous absences, continuous health issues have led to what we call institutional stagnation, public trust erosion, and also lack of clear succession. You see, it is high time these people give youth a chance to do their job.
Leadership is about visibility, it's about presence, and it is about engagement. The moment you are absent means you are not engaged.
Beyond stagnating, less innovative and less productive institutions, Dagge George and Song Derrick say that gerontocracy, like in the case of Cameroon, has left a huge disconnection with the youthful population, who paradoxically make up to over 60% of the total Cameroonian population.
We are afraid that the plan of transition, given that the head of state is not there today, then one of these will take over leadership. And we're asking, if those who are to take the baton really, they are not active, they are not present, what future are we laying for our country?
Why are they still there? The last time I checked, the Senate president was voted in again as the president of the Senate. Why in France on the hospital bed? Is this the future they promise the youth?
Both gentlemen also agree that outdated perspectives and resistance to change will continue to dictate the turn of events in Cameroon if total overhauling is not done.
Former Member of Parliament Honorable Jean-Jacques Ekindi has urged the head of state, Paul Biya, to put in place a government that will solve the multiple socio-economic and equally security problems plaguing the nation. He thinks if this is not done, Cameroon will remain in what he qualifies as a mess. To him, the Anglophone crisis should be the priority of the forthcoming government. He spoke to the press in Douala today, and Babla Jonathan tells us more.
Former Member of Parliament, Honorable Jean-Jacques Ekindi, tells Cameroonians to press for the putting in place of a problem-solving government, a government that will solve the multiple socio-economic, political and security problems affecting the nation. He says Cameroonians must not allow the putting in place of what he calls a blind government that will end up leaving the nation in a situation he qualifies as a mess.
The president has announced a government. So how will this government on duty? We believe that we must not let him free to do whatever he wants. But the Cameroonians must express what they believe will be good for them. This will help this government to make a good job. But if this government comes like a blind man, not knowing exactly what is going on, we wouldn't be out of the mess where we are.
He tells the forthcoming government to deal with the Anglophone crisis, the security problems in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon as a matter of priority.
The government is in charge of security, development, and so on. Let them take the good strategies in order to bring Cameroon again on the path of development.
To him, there is no reason for division. Cameroon should remain one and a united nation.
And now we take you out of Cameroon, where East and Central Africa at a critical juncture with major developments unfolding in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda that could have far-reaching implications for the regional stability. In the DRC, Angola's renewed diplomatic push for a peace is a glimmer of hope, but the persistent violence in the eastern provinces and competing international interests makes it a fragile and complex situation. Meanwhile, Uganda is bracing for a pivotal general election with long-standing promises of stability being put to the test amid growing demands for political change. Lord Maneru has more on this.
Democratic Republic of Congo, the worsening crisis in the eastern province has brought Angola back to the center of the regional diplomacy. After announcing its withdrawal as a mediator in March 2025, Rwanda has returned with renewed determination. Since early 2026, President João Lourenço has stepped up consultation meeting twice with Congolese President Félix Tshisekedi and engaging with key regional political and religious actors. As military tensions persist and ceasefire remain fragile, Angola is proposing new security initiative and accelerating contacts in an effort to relaunch a credible peace process navigating between international actors such as Washington and Doha and the complex reality on the ground. In Uganda, the country is entering the final day before the general election scheduled for January 15. The campaign is ending in a tense political atmosphere marked by heavy security deployment and heightened public anxiety. President Yoweri Museveni, in power for nearly 4 decades, is campaigning on promises of stability and continuity, while opposition leaders Bobi Wine, a symbol of youth-driven change, calls for unity despite restriction on some rallies. In Kampala and other cities, the visible presence of police and army reassures some citizens but alarms others who fear intimidation. As businesses brace for uncertainty and voters turn out remain on key questions, Ugandans are preparing to choose between continuity and change.
And we stay out of Cameroon, where Morocco's government is improving its transport sector. The temporary bus station in Agadir is a success, with visitors praising its spacious and organized layout. Passengers spend less time waiting and the station is very clean. A reporter on special assignment to Morocco, Smajikan Gabriel, reports on how the Agadir bus station is currently being managed. His report.
Located at Avenue Abderrahim Bouabit, 8000 Agadir, the central bus station is a major hub with connections to various cities in Morocco, including Marrakech, Casablanca, Rabat, and Essaoura. One of the striking things you will meet when you get into the Agadir bus station is that most of the agencies are simply represented in temporal structures constructed within the bus station. It is here that passengers come to purchase their tickets. Another peculiarity with the Agadir bus station is the parking space made available for each bus. Immediately the bus arrives, as passengers coming to Agadir descend from the bus, those who are leaving to different cities of Morocco immediately get into the bus, making the bus to spend at least 15 minutes in the bus station before leaving. The normal noise which characterizes several bus stations in Cameroon is never heard at the bus station in Agadir, which has been well arranged to suit every traveler. Punctuality is also one of the watchwords at the Agadir bus station. Within the bus station, a security post has also been installed to maintain order, while a vehicle to help remove cars when they face mechanical fault is also on the spot, alongside public toilets made available for the passengers at 2 dirham each. The hygiene and sanitation of the bus station in Agadir is top-notch, with trash cans placed all over. These trash cans are emptied at least 3 times per day, even late at night. Tiles have also been used to beautify the bus station, making it difficult to walk on mud when it rains. The bus station, which is being used in Agadir presently, is for a temporal period, as just by the side of this bus station, a modern one is being constructed. Even though the cost for this construction of the new Agadir bus station isn't made known, Morocco has invested heavily in modernizing its urban transport systems, including that of Agadir.
And now we talk sports. The head coaches of Nigeria and that of Morocco say they are set for their semi-final clash on Wednesday at the Moulay Abdallah Sports Complex beginning at 9 p.m. During the presser that had a record-breaking attendance, Coach Eric Sekou Shele of Nigeria and also Walid Regagi reassured journalists of an interesting game on Wednesday. Smaji Kangibla, sportsman, has the details of that press conference.
The 2025 Nations Cup gets into the most decisive phase with semi-final games coming up this Wednesday, a turning point in the quest for continental glory. Senegal will lock horns against Egypt in the first game, while in the highly anticipated encounter, host Morocco will clash against the most offensive team in the tournament, Nigeria. The pre-match presser that took place at the conference room of the Prince Moulay Abdallah Sports Complex brought head coach Eric Sekou Shele and Alex Iwobi before media men. It was one of the record-breaking presser since the start of the tournament. Aware of the challenges, Nigerian coach recognized the difficulty in his next game, but he is already aware of a plan to be taken as the tactics intended to contain the Atlas Lions is already well defined. We are going to set up a plan against Moroccan national team. What interests me most today is my team, to know if we have recovered well from the match against Algeria, and from there I could project myself on a game plan for this match. The best midfielder of the tournament this far, Alex Iwobi, didn't differ with his head coach, though surprised with the turnout.
It's nice to see the turnout, but yeah, the coach has said we did well against Algeria. We respect every opponent. Algeria was very good, but now we're excited with the challenge we have tomorrow. But we'll prepare and hopefully we'll be ready for the game.
Head coach of the Super Eagles continues to ponder on his offensive sector. I am lucky to have very good players. When you have 2 players of the year in your team, it's easier. Now, it's true that you have to find players who are able to quickly integrate. Walid Reglagi, on his part, says he is going to make things difficult for his opponent, though recognizing that Nigeria represents a reliable threat. He firmly believes in the chances of his team. We are already happy to be in the last four against one of the strongest teams of the continent in this competition. It is the 17th time we shall be meeting. There is Senegal and Egypt, Morocco, Nigeria. These are the top teams of the continent. We hope to be at the top level of the show and of course qualify for the final.
Et bien sûr se qualifier pour la finale, Inch'Allah.
Questions about support his team might have been receiving from the referees. The coach said, "We have been touched since the beginning of the competition. For example, the penalty against Tanzania, where everyone tried to make it look like there was a penalty because there is a player who weighs 20 kilos and there is another who weighs 120 kilos. In England, it will never count. But when Bilal Kanous is pushed into the surface against Mali, there is no one to say there is penalty. The penalty on Abde, the last game against Cameroon, where a player on the surface puts his foot on the ankle. If the VAR comes back, there is a penalty. The goalkeeper who comes out on Sebari, who fouls him on the head, it's a penalty." The Confederation of African Football CAF has chosen Pierre-Ghislain Acho of Gabon to handle the Senegal versus Egypt game, while the clash between Nigeria and Morocco will be managed by Ghanaian Daniel Ni Ayi Lae.
And we stay in sports. Morocco's football infrastructure just got a major boost. The government has built over 2,000 local stadiums across the country, investing 46 million francs CFA in projects that are paying off. Our correspondent once more, Smajikan Gabriel, comes up with the details.
A stadium covered with synthetic grass, equipped with a drainage system to prevent water, which won't be an obstacle to the young Moroccans who want to practice football. It is one of the proximity stadiums built in all the areas of the Kingdom of Morocco. In each of these places, you can find such a field where we allow people who organize themselves in academy to use it. We give them time to use the facilities, and we have young people who take care of the training of these children. It is thanks to a vast project launched by Morocco between 2018 and 2025 to develop sports infrastructures, including the construction of 2,000 proximity stadiums with nearly 800 in urban and rural areas. Some of these stadiums have changing rooms and tribunes with a capacity of at least 2,000 seats. The average cost to start the project stood at 46 million francs CFA, a little less than the price for wine consumed in banquets in some sub-Saharan African countries. In addition to allowing its youth to flourish, thanks to these proximity stadiums, talents have been developed and admitted into prestigious training centers, like the Mohamed Desit Academy for those who will excel in the field. We have for each club a specific academy. Here in Rabat, we have 3 clubs, Fa, Fuse. Each academy has its own youth. You have in Kenetra, for example, the Chipo Academy. So it is a football promotion policy in Morocco, and there you see the result. The large progression of Moroccan football for several years now is the result of a well-organized policy and implemented by the Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Economy and Finance, Ministry of Youth and Sport, as well as the Community Equipment Fund. In all the teams that won, you found a Moroccan trainer there. The case of different categories of Moroccan youth teams, Olympic team, the local team and the national team, it is the result of a policy. It's not a coincidence. The use of these proximity stadiums is totally free. After making a request, Moroccan authorities launched a withdrawal process of the management of 640 proximity stadiums in Casablanca, until now entrusted to associations and clubs. Amongst the clashes against them is the illegal monetization of these stadiums and their exploitations for political purpose.
Thank you so much, Smaji Kangable, for those amazing sports reports. And that's what put a cap to tonight's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much for your keen attention. Stay in the company of interesting programs on Equinoxe TV. Bye-bye for now and have a wonderful evening.